Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are so excited to have you. You know, the feedback I'm getting has been just amazing. There's no other way to describe it. Just a few quick announcements before we begin the shir. A shout out to the FJJ for promoting Daf discussions this week, page 82. Thank you to our photographer, Enach Shlita, for submitting it. Page 82. See in the bottom, that handsome guy in the middle. It's yours truly. And what is that? Oh, and the back of Rabbi Norliff, of course. Don't forget him. He's right there. Our wonderful Gabbai, who I'd like to thank him as well for all of his continuous support and his tireless efforts, making sure that this year is always the success that it has been and continues to be. And much appreciated. Now, I've been receiving many requests about sponsorships. So the truth is, we're very happy everyone that asks, but due to the immense popularity of our share, we are unfortunately booked for the next approximately 6 to 7 daf discussions. Anybody who would be interested in sponsoring should contact me. We can put you on the waiting list. The sooner the better, because these they're just going one after another. People are just calling me from Asia, from San Francisco, Ukraine, everywhere. I get these phone calls. People want to sponsor. Now, one very amazing thing about our organization, different than Kubas Seir. Kubas Seir says if your great grandmother is 400 years old and the doctor says she's about to die, and you give them money, she's going to live. So we don't do any promises. In all likelihood, if you donate to us, your great grandmother will still pass away. But the benefit is that you're giving the tzedakah as l'shma, just so that all of us, tremendous kilo, can gain a couple more pounds, and and enjoy, and for states a little about the stereo that comes in as well once you're at it. How could I forget to mention a tremendous hakaras hatov to our sponsor, this week's sponsor, Rabbi Ashi Blum Shlita. We really appreciate what he's given. I don't even know what he's spent. A lot of money apparently. We got some Cuban cigars. Costs a lot of money from what I hear. I'm not sure. Yeah. We got anybody want some of this? With this guy? That's all right. Got some Yishmak and Mashka. What is this, by the way? Anybody want bourbon? Okay. Wants to get some bourbon. What's the other thing? Wine? Enough? I don't know how to drink these things. Alrighty, and now we got some other Yishmak, a Pepperberg Moscato. Full cup of reviews? Chaznish? Alrighty, here we go. So in case you're wondering what your sponsorships are going for, Chaim. So we're putting your money to good use. That's noise. Anyone else? Double sure. Anybody else want more? You get to know. Amen. Chaim. Anybody in the back want some? Yeah, sure. He sent to them. Alrighty. Okay. Anyway, so without further ado, let's get to work. We are going to give you. Did I miss any announcements for Mr. Producer? Did I miss anything? Not that I'm aware of. Okay. Today we're going to be discussing. Introduce the Danishes. Why not? We have 4 Danishes. I'd like to introduce them as well. They made a grand appearance this week's share. We'll see if anything's left by the end of the share. Here we go. So, וחצי ben chayrin. The Gemara and if you could take your booklets, page 1. The Gemara has a shiloh of וחצי ben chayrin. The Gemara is towards the bottom, the second line. Mishnah said, Noshim va'avodim she'enim shechar mar potter. The Gemara says, Bishleim and Noshim kida amar na avodim you know one. How do you know avodim are potter from Eila Regel? Omar Avuna, you're the second wide line. Omar Avuna, Omar Kra, El Pnei Ha'odin Hashem, Mish Ein Lei Elo Odin Echod, Yotzeh Sheyesh Lei Odin Acher. This guy, he has 2. So Mel Tmayed Evet, Frek the Gemara Kash, Amar the Kash, Olam Likra Mechti, Kol Mitzvah Sheisha Chayeves Ba Evet Chayeva, Kol Mitzvah She'ein Isha Chayeves Ba Eina Evet Chayev, But the Gemara Lolo Mi Isha, Frek the Gemara. Anyways, Evet should be potter because Lolo Mi Isha. Omar Avinu Lei Nitzvah El Misha Chatzi Evet v'Chatzi Ben Chayrin. So the Tarot says it's coming for a Chatzi Ben Chayrin. So the Patur of Lolo Mi Isha wouldn't work, because half of him is a Ben Chayrin, Chatzi Ben Chayrin. Rather, we need a special pasuk of Al Pnei Ha'odin Hashem. Now, I didn't print this out, but the Gemara in the Beis Amalef had a stira that the Mishnah said Hakol Hasuya Chatzi Ben You want to say Chatzi Ben is Chayiv. The Gemara Kasha here it says Chatzi Ben is Pater. So the Gemara answered Kanka Mishnah Rishon and Kanka Mishnah Achrayim, which we know in Gittin is there was a Shiloh, וחצי עבד וחצי בן חורין, what do you do with the guy? In other words, what is a וחצי עבד וחצי בן חורין? He had two masters, there were Shutz, and they go to the Shutzis. One guy's freezing, the other guy doesn't. So now he's messed up. He's half Eved, half Ben Chayrin. What does he do? The Gemara says, at least a Shifcha in Yachol, because Bas Chayrin, he can't Bas Chayrin in Yachol because he's Eved. So what do you do? So, Mishnah Rishayna, the Gemara, they used to have a solution the old times. They made a split each day. One day he went to the Adain, the next day he stayed to himself because he was a Chatzi Ben Chayrin. Mishnah Chayrin, we said because of this problem that he had nobody to marry, so Chomar Masak, and you force Kaifenes Rabbi to Meshachar. So now Rashi over there says, so Mishnah Chorina, like we said, in that case, Kaifenes Rabbi L'Shach is like Rashi. What does the Gemara mean? Kanka Mishnah Rishayna, Kanka Mishnah Chorina. The Gemara over there answers, when is a Chatzi Ben Chayrin Potter? That's only, so Rashi in the Mishnah Rishayna, where he's Taka Chatzi Eved. But Kanka Mishnah Chorina, so Rashi, since it's Kaifenes Rabbi L'Shach, command the Meshachar Dami. It's as if you freed him and he's already chayav. So now, before I go weiter, I'd just like to point out that it's highly unlikely that the Gemara means to say that it's as if he freed him and he's chayav mitzad as chatzi evet. That's very hard to imagine. Because even though he's about to free him, the Gemara clearly says in Gittin that he does not have a dinim of a, you can't tell me, oh, he's about to free him, I'm going to go marry a bas chayrin. Of course he can't, right? Why not? He's about to get freed. It doesn't apply to Yisurim, so why should it apply to Eil Regel? You should say it's as if he freed him. So the Rajba, this is I think the second to last page of our booklet, the third to last. He just mentions in Gittin. He just says basically like this. He says that really he's chayiv. I'm paraphrasing the Rajba. You can see it over there. It's in Gittin Membeis. Really he's chayiv because of his chatzi mechayin. The chatzi mechayin is enough to be mechayiv him. Narvas. There's a special pasuk of Misha Ein Le'Yala Adon Echad, which is telling me that even his chatzi mechayin is potter because it's exeris hakosav that since half of him is an eved, so nothing is chayiv. So now, Command Meshachar tells me that no, since it's Lamaisi is about to free him, so the Rajba says it's Lamaisi, he doesn't have his Lamaisi Yadayim, that's not considered a Adinachar. But the way to learn the Pashtus HaGemara is that the Command Meshachar is just taking away the impediment of the Avdus from his Ben Churn. But the reason he's Chayev Lamaisi is only because of his Chatzi Ben Churn. Command Meshachar is very hard to say, it's enough of a Svara to be Mechayev. Okay. It doesn't take away his avdus, but the avdus is not going to shter. It takes away. It's not considered an achar enough to shter his tzad chayris from being chayiv. So he's chayiv because he's a half a ben chayiv. Now that more is very simple. Now we look at the Rambam, which is I think the third or fourth to last of the booklet. I apologize, sincere apologies. The pages aren't in order. I have a very hard time with arranging it online. With just printing. So there. I hope you will forgive me. It's in Chagiga Perek Aleph. Is it even the wrong? Did I print the wrong one? I printed the wrong Rambam. Okay, Gavalus, it's not even here, so there you go. So forget about it. The Rambam paskins that it's in Perek Beis, it should be, it's not here. Halacha Beis or something. He paskins that Chatzi and Chatzi Chayrin is Potter min Huriyah. Now the problem is, our Gemara comes out, the Mishnah Chayrin, Chatzi and Chatzi Chayrin, it's Chayiv in Riyah, the way Rashi learns the Gemara, that Kanga Mishnah Chayrin, Kivan the bathroom Meshachar, command the Meshachar Nami. So how can you tell me, what does Rambam say? That's one problem. Now the Rambam also says, I don't have it in front of me, he says, why is a Chatzi Eved and Chatzi Mechayer Potter? So Rashi is up to Rambam because he's an Eved, and Eved is Potter mitzvahs Kisha. I would want to see it inside because I don't have the exact lotion. But something along those lines. The main idea, what does Rashi say? The Rashi is not here. The Rashi is in Nav Beis. Rashi he talks about Mishnah Chayrin? Which Rashi is here? 1 second. Rashi is going Mishnah Rishayna, right? Oh, Rashi, let's go. Mule, Mishnah Chayrin, Hoy will be a Dainu Lock of this Rabbi, Chayiv the Ainli Allah Nachar, Hoy the Dainu Lock of this Rabbi, since he's able to force him, right? Whatever it is, upon Rashi is learning upon Mishnah Chayrin, you are Chayiv, since you could force him. Like we explained, that the Chayiv of the other Rishayna, I think mentioned the word command Meshach. Fine. Now the Rambam says the other thing interesting about the Rambam is he put there, and he doesn't bring down the pasuk about the Nachar. He doesn't bring down the So those are two questions in the Rambam. One, how can you pass not like the Gemara? The Gemara said Mishnah Chayrin Chayiv. And two, how come he brings down? The Gemara said clearly Chatzi and Chayrin is only potter because of the pasuk. It's not for the pasuk you'll be chayiv. So those are two questions. He doesn't mean on the pasuk. He just says because Lolo Misha. I think that's what he said. I mean, that's I don't want to see it inside because I forgot. Yeah, Mamish Knag the Gemara. Yeah, I mean, told the ground. The Rambam jumps in because of Rashi. The Rambam says you're arguing with Mishnah Rishayna, Mishnah Chayrin. But the Psaki argues, the Svara as well. I wish I could have it in front of me because I don't want to misquote. But okay. So now the Ravid asks the kasha. Now we're going to say over a few mahalachim to answer these kashas. They're not all going to answer both kashas. The first kasha everyone asks, the Ravid's kasha. What Mishnah Chayrin, the other kasha of the wrong pasuk that not everyone asks it, so that's not everyone answers it. Now The simple answer, the Kesef Mishnah says it, not in Hilchos Karim Pesach, is that the Rambam learns the Gemara the opposite of Rashi. That Rashi learns Mishnah Rishayna, you're potter because then you're Evan, Mishnah about to free him, then he chayiv. Says no, punkt vaker. Mishnah Achrayna, you're going to be chayiv. Mishnah Rishayna, you're going to be potter. Why? So I'm not sure if the Kesef Mishnah explains it. A lot of Achrayim explain it like this. The Marital Gazi in Simchas Yom Tov, he has a tremendous arichas about it. He says that Mishnah Rishayna, since you're Ovid as Rabbi Yom Echad, that's Atzma Yom Echad, so that day, upon him, that you're not Ovid as Rabbi, that day you're a complete Ben Chayrin. However, Mishnah Achrayna, there's no day that you're free. You're one big conglomeration. You're one big confused cholent pot. So there you don't have any full-time chayros. So the Rambam learns the Gemara about Ketzos. The Rambam passes you potter because Mishnah Achrayna, you don't have any days that you're a Ben Chayrin. Mainly you're potter. As is of Kesef Mishnah. Now, to understand this to drop better, so I wrote over here the Ran and the Darim. So the Myrtle guy tells to a Ran. The Ran over there, Daf Mem Hema base, he explains how does shutin work. Two people have a shutvis in the karka. He says the way it works is that there's two ways to learn it. You know, the pashtus you could say we each own a b'shutvis. Just each guy is meshubid to give his friend each day. In other words, when I'm using it, it's not that it's mine. But the Ran over there has an explanation. That each day, okay, I don't have the lashon in front of me. That each day it's basically shutfin. It's a gloy milsa that every day the shutfin is on the field. It was 100% his field. As we learned the Ran, it's shutfis. Nothing to do with וחצי and וחצי. Any ownership of shutfis by karka in right. So whenever each guy is using it, it's completely his. This is the Ran and the Darn. Now, so the Marital Gazi wants to sell shtalut to the Mishnah Rishayna, it's the same thing. It's so Mela, it is completely yours. Now, I just want to point out, he's using the Ran. Yeah, the rental guys, he's using the Ran to explain the Kesef Mishnah. The Chilik, why Mishnah Rishayna are you chayiv? Because that is up there. As the Ran says, like Shutfis, he's taking a step further. So the Chatzim and Chayr. Now, the Ketzos, I printed it over here in Simon, Kofayin Alf, another place. He actually. So that's basically the Ketzos' problem, sort of. The Ketzos brings down the Ran, and he has a shak mataritz. It's in Kofayin Alf and Kofayin Aleph. Does it apply to does this Ran apply to Chatzim and Chayr as well? It says, Roy L'Sapik, the Mishnah Rishayna, there is Rabbi Yom Echad, Atzmi Yom Echad. Hach Avdus, She'ovid Rabbi Yom Echad, and he kinyan haguf mamish, K'may be'evekani, She'ena elo shibud haguf. That day, is it a kinyan or is it a shibud? V'chem etzinu b'shutfin, the Bayi She'en B'y, the next shtel shutfin is the Ran, She'ena in the Chalukah, Chol Chad V'chad, She'mishtab B'shayt, is the kinyan haguf. U'kemoish Kosav Aram Ben Adarim, Reish Berger Shavim, Mem Hema Beis, and others of Mizeh, the Sover Cham the Asir, Taib the Cham, the Sover Idilhai, Lav the Hai, the Ainli the Shutf, El kinyan haguf v'machtzis. But mishtamish b'shayk because like he's coined around. Why do you mishtamish the whole thing when it's yours? You only own half. Hainu mishum the isti the whole shit of shibud the chelik kaveri. The chayim afkim the shibud. Rabbi Lezer made magnish and surely brayed the whole chad chad kinyan aguf b'shosh mishtamish. Each one is kinyan aguf. I'm assuming that they're going where Lezer and Yankiv. Okay, we can have hachanam b'yom rabbi isti kinyan haguf mamish. That's Israel. Do you say by chad chad mamish as here? Do you say it's kinyan haguf mamish? Or is it just a shibud? In other words, we each day there's two shutfis. Grada, I'm a shubit to you. Each day we have to work it out. So I have some shubit to the other guy, but it's not. If each day is a kinyan aguf to me, so then you could hear why Takachayev and Riyah, because that day you're completely to yourself. But if every day you're a b'shutfis, then l'chayra it's not going to work. Mishnah is not going to make a difference. Now I'm not going to throw all the sites. I made copies you go through. He comes out to where like Hagoyin Reb Chanukah Shlita was saying that. It's clear it doesn't apply to Yisur, it wouldn't apply to this either. So he says that the Ran would never apply to Chatzim and Chayrin, since Chatzim and Chayrin is a Yisur particular thing. He brings out a Gemara and get them. So with the Ketzos, the Kesef Mishnah starts is down the drain. It doesn't work. The Ketzos says you can't use the Ran for Chatzim and Chayrin. He says even if the Ran only applies to Shutfin. So the Chatzim and Chayrin, even the Mishnah Rishayna, it's not shy to say it's a full Kinyan Haguf. That's the Ketzos' opinion. I'm not getting involved in his proof, but he says even the Mishnah Rishayna, Chatzim and Chayrin, you don't say the day he's free, he's completely himself. No. Even the day he's free, he's a shutfis. Just, rather, the shutfis owes him a day, so he's working. That's what the Ketzos learn. So like that, the Kesef Mishnah is not going to stem. Because the Kesef Mishnah says, the Mishnah Rishayna, you're chayiv in Riyah. Why are you chayiv in Riyah? Because the day you're free, you're totally free. The Ketzos says not like that. The Ketzos says, even the Mishnah Rishayna, the day you're free, you're not totally free. You're still a shutfis. You're tzad chayrin. No, your other and owes you a free day. He owes, you guys are shutfis. You got each owe each other. Shutfim owe each other stuff. You got to you owe him 50%. So your other is letting you be by yourself. No, it's not. But it's not. No, okay. He owes you freedom, but it's not. You might see he owns you. Oh, you're saying you're not controlling him. You're fraud an Evan. You're an Evan. You're a Kedush.
I'm letting you rest now. That itself is a shoe.
But other, okay. So wait, so.
No, it's like, no, 15 minutes you leave. Yeah. That's our thing. You 15 minutes.
So Chanech is saying very good svara that. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. He's saying off from Ketzos. Yeah, he's saying that a day that you're free, if the guy tells you when you're free, like 15-minute recess, it's not the whole recess. Mishkan recess is the following. Don't tell me how long recess is. I want to have a 20 minutes. I'll come in whenever, just because you want to give me a test. But I don't think you need to come on to that for Ketzos. The Ketzos is saying, since Legabi Dini Avdos, Reb Matas' svara would work maybe for the pasuk of Inli Adanach you declare, because it's a very ambiguous. What's the gather of the Raj? The Raj already gave us permission to make chilukim, so you could say it's not called the Adanach. But I'll put him in the Lolo Meisha, which the Rambam clearly says it's hard. You're still you're an evidence. That's why. So that's exact. Now I'll just mention the Stipler. He doesn't quote the rental guys. It's not even mentioning the Rambam, but it's just from Dvar. It's Muchach that doesn't go with this on this. And I just said if Stipler and Chagiga, he brings down the Ketzos and he tries to answer him. He goes to stick up for the Kesef Mishnah, that one. So I ain't shum, I can't say everything over here. So that's the Kesef Mishnah starts. Now, Rabbi Avram ben Rambam, Baal Mechaber Sefer Birchas Avram. Not the one that was just that wasn't the Rambam's son. It's a different Birchas Avram. No. Where did you live? Avram ben Rambam? Probably Egypt. I mean, Rambam all over the place. I don't know exactly. So he says a very interesting svara. He says that the whole thing is the Rabbanon. Avadam the Raisa. We're going to again. In Kasha the Rambam, he argues with the Gemara. The Gemara says the Mishnah Achrayna, you are chayiv, and he passes your potter, even though he holds like Mishnah Achrayna. Gemara says Mishnah Achrayna chayiv, and he says Mishnah Achrayna your potter. So Rambam, he also goes out there to the Kesef Mishnah, that he said the Rambam learns the Gemara the opposite. The Mishnah Rishayna your potter, your chayiv, Mishnah Achrayna your potter. But as long as this is, I don't really understand it. Rav Ashi Shita, he had a little explanation. He says it's Xer D'Rabban. Both of them is a Chiyav D'Rabbanon. D'Rabbanon will mechayiv you. The Mishnah Rishayna that says you're chayiv is D'Rabbanon. D'Rabbanon will mechayiv. Mishnah Achrayna, D'Rabbanon didn't want to be mechayiv you because they were afraid if he'll be chayiv, the other would hold back from freeing him. Is that what he says? Oh, so it's yes. Shagasai already says. Turi Yavin says it's a very, very bad svara. He's going with the Rambam. No. He's not like Rashi. When he learns the Gemara Makar, he flips it around. But what's the lumdus? He's saying the same as the Kesef Mishnah, but the Kesef Mishnah doesn't really say lumdus. So I'm assuming he means like the Myrtle Gazi. The Rambam says the lumdus that it's the Rabbanon the Kesvara. And it was why Mishnah Rishayna you're chayiv. He doesn't say the lumdus because one day you're free, one day you're not. He doesn't say it like that. He says because Mishnah Rishayna you're chayiv, the Rabbanon mechayiv you. The Mishnah Achrayna, since the Rabbanon want you to free the guy, right? So they were masakin. Mishnah Achrayna, they were masakin. You got to free the guy. So they want you to free him, so they were afraid to give you any takanas. And somehow, being a regal, because it was Mishnah Rishon, it's a suffix Rabbanon, they made a chiyav Rabbanon. Suffix, because it's a suffix if you're mechayiv, it's not really a suffix. I mean, it should be okay. That's so. Yeah, he doesn't talk about the question of pnei. Like I said, not everyone's answering that question. That question was put down. Well, not everyone talks about that. But the Torah Yavin already says that it's a pelat summit to the Rabbanon mechayiv you to be chul mazor, etc. So it's a shvar pshat. I'm just saying it over now. Moving right along, the Mishkenos Yaakov in his Sefer Kehilas Yaakov, a different Kehilas Yaakov. The Mishkenos Yaakov, Rabbi Yaakov Bruchin, who's the Rashi behind. If you're potter, we'll talk about Chol Mazor soon. If you're not chayiv, it's Chol Mazor. I'm thinking, yes, you can come. You can't be Maggid Shel if you're not chayiv. It's not anything. It's not Eilam. If you're Maggid Shel, it's not Shlom. So Mishkenos Yaakov. So Tais talks about it again tonight, but he's not going with tonight. It's a whole different. Tais says you can't. It should be Chul Mazar Pashtus here. So Mishkenos Yaakov, I rather heard it from Ramosha Soloveitchik Shlita. He said that at Brisk they were very, very much in Mishkenos Yaakov. He says as far as Mishkenos Yaakov says, you can't argue with. He said he learned him. He was the Karen Er's brother. So they were both the two brothers. They were from the biggest, Talmid of Alozhin, the old Talmidim of Reb Chaim. It's very interesting. He's from the biggest Talmidim of Reb Chaim, but he always is against anything that grows. Like if a carrot from the minig, he always sticks up for the minig. I got stand. But anyway, so the Mishkenos Yaakov, he says as follows, that he says no. The Rambam learns. It's in Psachim actually. The Rambam learns like Rashi's Pshat. Mishnah Achrayna, you are chayiv. He says a whole different shot. It's full of balbat. He says, what does it mean you're chayiv? It means you're chayiv because the rabbi has to mishacher you, so you're chayiv because mechayiv to free the guy, and then I'll be chayiv. That's all it means. And mishtachron you're chayiv because you're mechayiv to free him. So I told this over to a big Talmud Chacham, Rabbi Blum Shlita. So he was tining that it's a very big doichik because then what's the chiddush in the Mishnah? וחצי אחד מכר נסחייב because you free him. Like so, the chiddush is you have to free him. Like what's it doing in Masech the Chagiga? It's coming. There's no chiddush b'chal. After you free the guy, we know already you have to free him. We know after you free him, it's a full mecher. So what are you doing here? It's a shvarab shot. I think if I understand correctly, I might be wrong. So that's just the Mishkenos Yaakov. Now. Let's hear. Wait. So. One at a time. No racism. Excuse me. We have a public. I object to all this venomous racism. That discussions take no responsibility for any offensive comments. So Rabbi Yo is saying the tongue you have to free on but if I'm not mistaken, the chiyuv should have been anyways, very quickly. Anyways, the chiyuv is right away. I mean, chayiv, you have to. The Rabbanon chayiv to free him. You got to free him the first day, immediately. It's reason makdima. No, immediately. It's reason makdima l'mitzvos. So, yeah, okay, you could say such a thing, but anyways, thank you, Mr. Producer. Right. So the Oneg Yom says a very, very, I don't know how to describe this teretz. Fill in the blank teretz. He says, like this. He says that Avada he learns the Gemara. Someone just started singing a song in the background, so I apologize for any disturbances. We have some wonderful people over here who decided to join our share with some. This is Divrei Chaim in honor of Shushan and Purim Katan. So if anyone can't hear me, just direct contact me and I'll say Purim Shosh. Yeah, they're not going to Purim Shosh. So he says as follows: Avada he learns like Rashi. Again, let's recap. The question is, how do you? The Gemara says Mishnah Chorani you potter. How can the Rambam say Yechayiv? How can the Rambam say you potter? So he says like this. He says the Gemara only said you are chayiv because the Gemara is going to the man Omer Suma ba'achas me'enov is chayiv. Because it says the guy's a half of Eved, it's like Gora from half a Suma. So in order to say half of Eved's chayiv, you have to say half of Suma's chayiv. But the Rambam paskin Suma ba'achas me'enov is potter. So too, וחצי Eved, וחצי Menchayerin is potter. The Heilige Oneg Yom, if I'm not mistaken, I printed it. I might have misunderstood it. Page Kuf Tzadi Ches. I don't remember the names. Our scholar in the house, in residence. Right? There's a guy has one eye is blind. Yeah. So the Machayis Nigamar of one eye. What the halach is? So we pass in one eye. You're putter. That's what he says. We pass like that. Let me just make sure I got that. Come the time shown the putter because of nechal yotz shesh necher the tell you blah blah blah. L'man the lesson of the rechem avoid the Amar subach min a putter min eria. Koresh speaking ava na paskin Rabbi Yochanan da avoid the subach min a putter min eria because you're im kein tzad chayros mifter memelo even tzad avos putter havli tzad chayros chatzi guf the chatzi guf putter min eria azoivi suma bachas meinov. Now I might have misunderstood, but he's saying the Rambam passes azoivi suma bachas meinov. That's very interesting there. So the Heilige Oneg Yom Tiv, what are you going to do? As he zokta. The Avineza was a tremendous chassid in Yom Tiv. What is that? The wild shot. Yeah, I said fill in the blank. I wasn't sure. It's interesting, funny, humorous. There's a lot of ways to say it. As he zokta in Yom Tiv. It's spread of Purim, yeah. I mean, usually, yeah. As he zokta Heilige Oneg Yom Tiv. I think he's serious. I don't know. I mean, Chelik or Chaim Siman and Aleph. I don't know. Leisnish. He was mechutim with the Rishol Salanter. I actually have a sefer, his son-in-law's sefer. I forgot what it's called. He had a son-in-law. I think his last name was Horowitz, Rishol Salanter's son, or something like that. So his wife, or the Oneg Yom's daughter, put out the sefer. She wrote the introduction. It's a very geschmacky, Jewish introduction. Yeah, she's geschmack. Then Ovi Mary, she's writing all the brisket l'shonis. Ovi Mary Tzadik Yisrael, so she writes about it. Yeah, she's writing about it. But no, her father was Oneg Yom. Her shver was a bit strong. So like Adoni Mari Chamish Shlita Zatzal. She's right. It's Gishmak. Whatever. It's not was interesting. We got too much talking, but you could leave. Is Minchana? Yeah, you could go. That's fine. I'll fill you in after. Just two more. It shouldn't take more than another 3 hours. Now, you want another drink before you leave? All right. Now, the last two pshatim, should we stop here? It's too long? No, we're going. Two more pshatim. Now, the last two are actually similar to each other. So, the general idea is as follows. Now, these two are going to answer the other question we started with. Why does the Rambam bring down the wrong pasuk? Now, there's a third question you have to ask. Another question. Chatzi Evan Chatzi Mecharin. On the Gemara, this is the kasha on the Gemara. The kasha from Turi Evan. The Heilige Turi Evan frekt azoi. The Gemara says you need a pasuk of Chatzi Evan Chatzi Mecharin that tell you need a special Ketzos Hachoshen. The Rambam paskins your potter. The problem is the Gemara's mash becomes a Mishnah Chorine Echai. Now there's a new kasha. Turi Evan frekt kasha. Marcus Pari asks it as well. How come you need a pasuk that Marcus Pari is Mipiyah Shmua? But I'll check later if it's written down anywhere. So okay, that's according to Turi Evan. I just mentioned just as a sniff. The main thing is Turi Evan. I have it over here. As long as you see it, you don't have to open it. Yes, like this. The Gemara says you need a pasuk for Chatzi Evan, Chatzi Man Chayrin. No, it's Bechina of Musa David Agli, Even Nishul Shkuri. I have the sefer, so you can trust me because why would I lie if the sefer is in front of me? That was definitely. Yeah, that's something else. Exactly, 100%. Yeah, just to open it to make believe. So he says like that. He asks. The Gemara says you need a pasuk. The Chatzi Evan, Chatzi Man Chayrin is putter. Frekt the Heilige Turi Evan. What is going on? How is it shayich to be chayiv? Like we said before, he's half of Ben Chayrin. So the half of Evan is a putter. Gemara said Lo Misha. Lashon Maptur is to Evan's putter. The half of this kind is putter. So now the half of Ben Chayrin is chayiv. But how could this feller bring this carbon if half of him is an Evan? It's Chul Mazar for that half. This guy, he's half an Evan. He's asking me, no, but even the Shlech, it's right there. Who's makdish the carbon? So B'Yosh Shlita is saying, you could have two Chatzi and Chatzi Mecharin to get to make a Shlech. I didn't think of that. What is going on? The Chayr is the Chul Mazar. What's the in the Gemara? Now, the truth to be told, I don't know if this kasha, it's possible to answer this kasha. I'm going to Penach Shlita. He wanted to say that Mehechet Teisi, you can't be makdish it from my half. In other words, the way I spoke to different Talmud Chacham, Hagoyin Hagodler Bavram Lurcher Shlita, he was saying you can mechalik which stuff are in the guf or not in the guf. In other words, the Gemara says the Chatzi Mecharin can't pull a shofar because you can't say which half is belonging to shofar. It's not up to you. But perhaps in the Gabi Hektish you could say, I'm makdish from a Chatzi Mecharin. Why can't your Chatzi Mecharin be makdish the entire carbon? Now, it's a lump. I don't know. Mismar Ishki. No, in other words, by kedushin, I think the more is Ketzos Hachoshen that you can't be mekadesh because ish leChatzi ish. On the Ketzos Hachoshen, could be you would have said the Chatzi ish could be mekadesh. Why? Because could we have some kind of right to say only half of it is being mekadesh and ishin? Without Ketzos Hachoshen, ish leChatzi ish could be a Chatzi Mecharin was able to be mekadesh. It's not half of him. So hektish is no Ketzos Hachoshen. So maybe take a half of you can be makdish. In other words, I don't know for sure if the kasha is. Could be, you can wiggle out of the question. No, but that's not true because you don't need a philosophy because whatever's mechuyev did it. But here the shaila is you're not makdish hakar. Okay, I know, but I'm saying it's different. It's not a kasha. You're not asking. You're asking how to I don't know. Yeah, so it's possible to get out of it. The problem is, but you find the limits. Is why can't you go shofar? Why do you say the chelak of ben chayrin is belonging to shofar? To invite the other people. Now, so he says like this. He says the teretz is gevaldik. He says the Gemara in Erevin Daf Tzadik Vav. Oh, the Divrei Chaim, Tzanziru. He says like this: the Gemara in the Tzadik Vav has a shaila if ladies are allowed to be ill red. The Gemara says Tzadik Vav and Malvan Beis. It's totally in the machlek is noshim same place rishos. If noshim are allowed to do smicha, so too they're allowed to be ill regel. As if the enemy of vice. That's what he says. So he says Bal Karchav, our Gemara is going. The ladies are allowed to be ill regel, so there's no problem with Chul Nazar B'chlal. In other words, our Gemara holds there's no issue of Chul Nazar. Now, can I get to so this he doesn't mention this. I think like Taisus mentions it, not like a Gemara of Tumtum. But now, the Gemara has a kasha, why can a Tumtum bring you need a pasuk patri misafik? Taisus because it's Chul Nazar. But the Rambam holds something that writes the Chumrah, he doesn't mention I think this is the Chari you have to stick in. It's something in the Torah is the Kula, so he can learn the Gemara before he doesn't have to come on to Taisus. The Gemara of Tumtum, he can learn the Gemara's kasha kapshuta. You don't need a pasuk that a Tumtum is patri because he's a Safik. Taisus had to explain the Gemara's kasha because he holds something that writes the Chumrah, you have to stick in Chul Nazar. But the Rambam, he holds the Gemara's kasha Tumtum is pasha, so he can learn the whole entire sugya is going let the sheet of Nashon Simchas Rishos. So there's no problem with Chul Mazar. Mamelo so to Chatzi Mechayin, you need a pasuk to pater you of Adin. If not, a pasuk, you're Mechayin. But the Rambam, like the Pashkins, Noshim can't be Soimich. So the Rambam himself, Zot the Halig Divrei Chaim, from time to do with the Rambam Pashkins, Noshim can't be Soimich. So Mamelo, the Kaz, you don't need a pasuk for Adin. Chul Mazar. So that's why the Rambam, even the Mishnah Chorina, you pater, pasuk because Chul Mazar, since half of you is a Ben Chayr, you have no right. The entire. This is right. Well, let me show you. Pasuk, you pater, because half of you is an Evan. That's it's like the Divrei Chaim. The Valik, half of the fellow. Very good shot, no? So this is the best shot. Oh, and Gansi Gemara Ravina is going to just shows, but the Rambam doesn't pass like that. Okay, that's a Gavaldi of Shabbat and Sam Zeru. He's mechaven to the mark of his pari. Well, he rather mentions. He says about Kesef. He doesn't say Chul Mazar. I'm not sure why Kesef. This might be the true shot for all you know. The only reason why I'm thinking it's not. I would have said it's for sure true. The reason why I'm not so convinced it's true is because the svara we mentioned before. I'm not sure if the kasha starts. Oh. Seisem Shalom Hagdor Rebbe Lezer Nordloch again. Once again, we appreciate our Gabe for all his support, and we really appreciate him coming. Round of applause. So as he's going on a very important, his Kuach Nefesh just came up, so he's excused for the time being. So that's Skonas. That's one of the. I tell my Talmidim all the time. Being an askin is not just a 5-minute job. It's a 24-hour job. You got to be always on the call. You can be in the middle of a shir hearing a Geshmak of Pshat, but Askonas is Askonas and versteht sich. So the reason why I would think this might not be true is because I don't know if the kash is really a shvar kash, like I was saying before. He's assuming it's Chul Mazar, but I'm not sure. It could be like we said, we brought down the condition. Could be you're allowed to be, but could be kash in the start. Now the last shot is from a Reuven Katz from Pesach Sikvo, Degel Reuven. He says the same exact mahalach. What I mean to say, the same. It's in the same build-up. That our Gemara is going with one sheet, and Mamelo, you already got that. He's just sticking in, he's filling in something else for the blank. He has the same kasha. He says, what's that in the Gemara? Same kasha. What about Chul Mazar? So he says, Al Karchach, our Gemara means, I'll try and make this quick. I see I'm going way over time. He says, Al Karchach, our Gemara means that to pater you, you can't bring the carbon. But there's two mitzvahs. There's a din of La'ir Panei Rekom, which means you have to bring carbon. It's not Shalish Pam Mashani Yira Kos Churcha. Mitzvah say of Eil Regel. So the pasuk is just coming to pater me from being Eil Regel, but I wouldn't be able to bring a carbon. That's what he says. That's the whole entire Gemara. And when he's handling, you need a pasuk to say that I'm not mechuyev to be Eil Regel without bringing a carbon. Bringing a carbon avad I couldn't do because that would be something Chul Mazar because half of me is a man chayr. Now he says that is totally the machlekes of Divrei Chaim Reish Lakish and of Zion. If a guy could come, I forget what the Lashon Gemara over there, but if bringing the carbon is totally, if the two mitzvahs are totally zeh, the mitzvah of La'ir Panei Rekom is totally in the mitzvah of Shal Yira Kol Zechorach. So he says the our Gemara is only going where Rabbi Yochanan that holds over there in Zion. You could differentiate the Aliyah L'Regel and the carbon. He says the Rambam passes like Reish Lakish. You can't differentiate the two. So mainly you wouldn't need if you could differentiate them, he's saying they wouldn't be allowed. In our case, because he's pater. In other words, it's shaykh to be Eil Regel without bringing a carbon. It's a mitzvah. It's chatziv, he can't go in. A regular guy, a regular Jew, a full-fledged Yisrael. So in this case, the chatziv and he can't do half. He can't bring a carbon because it's Chul Mazar. But he could be Eil Regel. Yeah, he has La'ir Regel. So you need to mean that he shouldn't. It's not even the say of right. You need to mean that he can't come up. Avad, he wouldn't be able to bring it.
He
can't go in no matter what. Right. Right. Rashad, you go without a carbon, without the chulin. Just go in. Just be Eil Regel without bringing the carbon. That's a lot. But he's einus. He can't bring the. He's saying he's a lot of upon a record. What should he do about it? He's einus. Touch the one. Yeah, so we're not doing he's einus on the life because he's chatzim. The guy can't bring a carbon. There's nothing you can do about it. He's an einus. So he asked the Rav, should I chutz go up? So the Rav says, well, if you had no choice, do what you could. If a guy can't keep Shabbos, entire Shabbos, you only can keep the first day. So, right. That'll be telling Reish Lakish. So, right, with Panu Carbon, I thank you for reminding me. So, yeah, whatever. So, yeah, he takes care of technicalities, or he doesn't take care of it. We're just trying to say what he says. I jump. So the Rambam paskins that the Tluin Zebezes, you don't need a pasuk. So, Mamela, you pater because the same exact cheshbon of the Divrei Chaim. Mamela, it's Chul Mazar, and, or Baltaisich. Like, none of you pater because since you can't bring it because of Chul Mazara, Mela, and you also pater, you don't need a pasuk. The whole sigil was talking about bringing it, going up without bringing a carbon. But now that the real Kali Zebizeh, now you can't bring a carbon because Chul Mazara, so you don't need a pasuk to pater you from just coming up. Thank you all so much. It's a pleasure having you. I apologize for the length, Mr. Perdilsan. Can you please turn off the camera, and we'll see you again. Whenever.